Meghan Markle's major row with Vogue magazine, and this time she's taken on the queen of fashion, Anna Wintour herself.
The cameras were already flashing when she arrived. Late, glowing, the spotlight belonged to her.
This woman is really not oppressed. She's opportunistic.
Paris Fashion Week 2025 wasn't ready for a royal entrance staged like a movie premiere.
It doesn't work for you to shoulders back, breasts out, headlights going, and try to look as bitchy as possible.
All-white couture, personal videographer, and a security cordon slicing through a sea of editors. Every head turned, but not for the reason she imagined. Whispers rippled down the front row. This wasn't elegance, it was entitlement draped in designer silk.
I know my latest money-making scheme is going to be cosplaying the final night that Princess Diana died. It's truly sick.
In a world built on understatement, Meghan Markle made subtlety extinct. And just when the spectacle seemed complete, someone decided enough was enough. A voice, calm, measured, unmistakably British, cut through the noise. "You can't bully my staff." 5 words, 5 seconds, and suddenly the self-styled Duchess met the one woman who doesn't bow to crowns or cameras, Anna Wintour.
Everything's great.
Body language. Oh my God, no amount of PR spin is gonna deal with that.
The clip exploded online. 30 seconds of icy restraint versus performative chaos. Millions replayed it frame by frame, searching for proof of disrespect, of humiliation, of truth. But here's the question that still burns through the glitter and gossip. Was this a spontaneous clash of egos, or a masterclass in quiet power reminding the world that influence doesn't need applause? Because sometimes the loudest person in the room is the one being quietly replaced. Do you think Anna Wintour was standing up for respect or putting Meghan in her place? Drop your thoughts below. In Paris, March 2025, Balenciaga's runway was supposed to be the crown jewel of Fashion Week, a temple of silence, precision, and power. Inside the mirrored venue, every seat was a chess piece. Editors, buyers, icons, all perfectly placed, until one last-minute adjustment rewrote the entire board. Witnesses later described it as controlled chaos. Moments before the show began, Meghan Markle's team arrived with cameras rolling and voices sharp. They requested better lighting, moved name cards, and blocked staff with security lines usually seen outside Buckingham Palace. For Paris insiders, it was blasphemy, a breach of an unspoken rule: no one overshadows the house. A former Vogue production assistant told French outlet Mode Confidential, "You could feel the air change." Balenciaga staff froze. No one wanted to say no until they had to. That hesitation would cost them dearly, because within minutes, the Duchess was backstage, a place sacred even to celebrities. And the one person who noticed immediately was Anna Wintour.
She's walking around Paris like she's the She's got her arms flowing. She's really feeling her oats.
Those who know Wintour's methods describe her as surgical. No raised voice, no wasted movement. She observes, then corrects. That night, she reportedly stepped between Meghan's entourage and the designer's team. Her expression unreadable, her authority absolute. And when she spoke, the room obeyed. By the next morning, every major outlet was chasing the same question: what really happened behind the curtain? No press release, no apology, no quote from Vogue. Just a 30-second clip and a silence heavy enough to echo. Because in fashion's upper sanctum, silence isn't avoidance, it's strategy. And for Meghan Markle, who built her brand on visibility, that silence became the loudest headline of all. But that was only the beginning. Was Meghan's Paris appearance confidence, or pure PR strategy gone wrong? Let me know in the comments.
It was just a terrible look. She does not look good. It looks like something you would see at a grandma's, like, you know, if she's celebrating her, let's say, 60th wedding anniversary, that's what a grandma would wear.
On the surface, it looked like another glamorous Meghan moment, the kind her PR team crafts with military precision. She stepped from the black car as if descending a movie set, each camera flash rehearsed, each angle pre-approved. Paris had seen royalty before, but not like this. Her gown, crisp white Balenciaga with sculpted shoulders, screamed symbolism, purity, renewal, reinvention. Reporters whispered words like comeback, icon, and statement. And for a brief moment, the illusion held. Fans lined the barricades, chanting her name, convinced they were witnessing the Duchess's grand return to grace. But the people inside the venue saw something entirely different. To them, it wasn't confidence, it was choreography. Every step, every glance to the camera lens, every whispered instruction to her staff revealed not presence, but control. In a culture obsessed with effortless beauty, nothing about this performance felt effortless. The official story that followed was predictable. Meghan Markle stuns Paris in surprise Balenciaga appearance. Headlines repeated it like gospel. Fashion blogs praised her visionary confidence. Her team reposted the clips, flooding social feeds before the show even ended. It was textbook image management, swift, polished, and meticulously sanitized. But behind those glowing headlines, insiders started noticing the cracks, the missing acknowledgement moments, the uneasy glances from seasoned editors who'd spent decades reading the silent language of power. Because in that world, true authority doesn't announce itself, it's recognized. And Meghan's insistence on directing the spotlight made people wonder, was this a royal reclaiming her narrative, or a celebrity forcing her way into a room that had already decided her place? They didn't have to wonder for long, because within hours, whispers turned into warnings. Something was brewing backstage, something the cameras hadn't yet captured. And that's where everything starts to unravel. The first red flag appeared minutes after Meghan took her seat, a quiet reshuffling along the front row, barely noticeable to most, impossible to miss for insiders. Someone's name card had been moved, then another, and suddenly, the seating chart Balenciaga's team had finalized days before no longer existed. Staff members exchanged looks, discreet, nervous, professional.
Finally, Meghan Markle turns up at Paris Fashion Week, fancying herself to be kind of budget Angelina Jolie.
Wow.
But without the talent or the tits or the teeth. I mean, I think she fancies herself to be a bit of a catwalk model, more like an aged pussy on the prowl, looking for its next.
One assistant whispered that Meghan's team had requested a camera-optimized angle. In Paris fashion etiquette, that's like rewriting the 10 Commandments during communion. Witnesses recall her personal videographer adjusting tripods and stepping into press territory, a sacred boundary. When asked to move, he reportedly replied, "The Duchess needs perfect coverage." Those 6 words told the whole story. This wasn't about fashion, it was about control of the narrative. But here's where it gets strange. Minutes later, Meghan's staff began positioning themselves near the backstage entrance, a restricted area reserved only for designers, models, and production leads. An intern tried to intervene. She was ignored, then brushed aside. One Balenciaga coordinator described the scene as a royal procession crashing a war room, and then silence. A ripple of stillness spread across the backstage corridor. From the shadows, Anna Wintour stepped forward. No entourage, no expression, just presence. Her tone was glacial, her words deliberate. "You can't bully my staff." Not shouted, not dramatized, delivered with the precision of someone who's seen entire careers rise and fall with a single sentence. Within 24 hours, the clip surfaced. 30 seconds of quiet confrontation, recorded on a staffer's phone and leaked online. Millions debated whether it was authentic, rehearsed, or weaponized PR. But while the internet dissected the moment frame by frame, the real story unfolded behind closed doors. Because when the camera stopped rolling, the power lines in fashion didn't blur, they hardened. Invitations went missing, calls went unanswered, and a new whisper started circulating in the industry's most private circles. Was this a feud or a reckoning? But that's only half the story. Has Meghan's image become overmanaged, or is the media just waiting for her to slip? I want to hear your take. What followed wasn't just a scandal, it was a shift in hierarchy. Within the walls of high fashion, power is currency, and silence is the vault that holds it. When Anna Wintour spoke those 5 words, she didn't start a fight, she closed a chapter.
I was just checking Us Weekly.
Wow.
You know, Harry and Meghan's personal press release service. I want to give you some of the headlines from Us Weekly in the last few hours.
Okay.
Meghan Markle quietly attends Balenciaga's Paris Fashion Week show. Quietly.
Quietly.
In the days after the confrontation, Meghan's team went into overdrive. Behind-the-scenes footage was edited, rebranded, and released with subtle captions, an empowering moment of boundary setting. But insiders saw something else: damage control, an unspoken scramble to reclaim a narrative that had already slipped out of her hands. Because fashion's elite operate on codes outsiders rarely see. You don't demand attention, you command it through restraint. You don't chase visibility, you earn credibility in whispers, not headlines. And Meghan, still running her brand like a stage performance, broke that invisible law in front of its most powerful gatekeeper. Editors who once applauded her modern Duchess image went silent. Designers who had extended private invitations suddenly had no availability. Deals drifted away quietly, not canceled, just never renewed. It wasn't revenge, it was correction. And then came the contrast. Anna Wintour said nothing. No statement, no denial, no acknowledgement. Her only public comment weeks later was during a Vogue luncheon where, when asked about the incident, she simply replied, "I don't discuss distractions." 6 words that did more damage than any press release ever could. That restraint became the lesson, a reminder that in the upper echelons of influence, power isn't performed, it's implied. Meghan had the microphones, but Anna had the room. And as the noise faded, one truth remained: visibility without respect is just exposure. Because every empire built on attention eventually learns the same rule. The spotlight burns hottest right before it goes dark. And yet, for all the speculation and silence, one question still lingers in the corners of every editorial office and PR suite across Paris. Was this a feud between 2 women, or the moment a crown was quietly reclaimed by someone who never needed one? Long after the runway cleared cleared and the headlines faded, something quieter and more revealing began to unfold. It wasn't about fabric, fame, or even fashion anymore. It was about image and the lengths people will go to protect it. For years, Meghan Markle's public identity has thrived on visibility. Every gesture, outfit, and curated speech carefully crafted to tell a story. Resilience, reinvention, control. But in Paris, that same strategy backfired. The camera she once commanded became the mirror she couldn't escape. Behind the scenes, industry analysts began whispering about the illusion fatigue, an exhaustion setting in among audiences who have seen too much perfection, too many staged, authentic moments. When everything looks managed, sincerity becomes the rarest luxury. And in a week dedicated to artistry, the difference between presentation and performance became impossible to ignore.
Meghan entered this world like it was a Hollywood set, assuming she could rewrite the script, center herself in every scene, and edit out anything that didn't fit her narrative.
Meanwhile, Anna Wintour's restraint transformed into something mythic, a masterclass in unspoken power. She didn't argue, she didn't posture, she didn't post. She simply reminded the world that real authority doesn't live online. It exists in the rooms where doors close and decisions are made. What makes this story sting isn't the confrontation, it's what it exposed, a collision between two worlds, one built on substance and discipline, the other on spectacle and self-brand. For every headline about feminism and independence, there's a quieter truth about optics and orchestration. And in that truth lies the uncomfortable question. When influence becomes a performance, where does authenticity go to die? Because what Paris revealed wasn't just a fashion feud. It was a cautionary tale for every celebrity chasing relevance in an age where silence is stronger than spin. Anna didn't need to trend. She needed only to exist, and the world listened anyway. As one insider put it bluntly, Meghan brought cameras, Anna brought consequences. And that's the difference between presence and power. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding. Maybe it was something much larger, a mirror held up to an empire of image. Either way, the confrontation in Paris became more than gossip. It became a parable. In 30 seconds, two worlds collided, one defined by curated exposure, the other by cultivated influence. One needed attention to exist. The other had long ago learned how to rule without it. For Meghan, the cameras never stop rolling. Every silence becomes a headline, every gesture a statement, every glance a war strategy. But Anna Wintour has built a legacy on the opposite principle, that mystery is the final luxury. She doesn't compete for the frame. She decides what the frame contains. That's why her 5 words still echo months later. Not because they were cruel, because they were final. A quiet verdict in an industry that rarely delivers one out loud. Across fashion offices, the event is now shorthand. The Paris moment, a reminder that the stage isn't always owned by the loudest performer, and that sometimes reputation collapses not with scandal, but with silence. So what really happened backstage that night? A clash of egos, or a lesson in hierarchy, a power play, or a reckoning of authenticity. The truth may never surface completely, because the people who know it best don't need to speak. Maybe the official story is true, maybe it isn't, but every detail, every edit, every pause leads to one question that refuses to fade. What else have we not been told? Be honest, who really won that night in Paris? The Duchess with the cameras, or the Queen of Fashion with the silence? Sound off below. If you want to see how far this pattern really goes, watch our previous investigation about Harry and Meghan's shocking public fight, available now on this channel. You're watching Star Spotlight, where the truth hides between the headlines.